Hey guys, here out in the garage with TheEZGZ. Today's project is going to replace the steering damper. When I recently have been doing some front end work here, made a few changes, added the sway bar, added, I think I replaced all the tie rod ends, and I noticed when I was in there that the steering damper was very loose. I mean, it wasn't doing anything. So, one of the suppliers had a sale here over Halloween, free shipping, so I took advantage of that and I bought a few things that I've been holding off on, and this happened to be one of them. I got some other stuff too, but we'll do those later at another time. So right now I've got the car jacked up, both wheels off the ground, the key in the ignition turned so it unlocks. I've got the inner bolt off on this side. The other side was easier to get to. There was a kind of a locking tab in the way. And so I'm just reaching in from right here. It would have been easier if I'd have had all this stuff before when I originally found it, for sure. And it does not come with a nut, so I've got to cross my fingers on that. I'm pretty sure it's a 17mm socket on both sides, and just as I feared. Are you kidding me? I'm gonna have to get some more room on that. So I'm wondering if I can turn it. Yes! Ooh! I thought it was just going to be a little bit short. Let me grab the nut and I'll put the two side by side. Now this is a 69, and the reason I'm going through the trouble, I've been owning this car for 5 years, and let's see, how can we demonstrate this and give it a fair comparison here. This one just, I mean, it just does nothing. There's no resistance there whatsoever. Either the fluid's leaked out or it's something else. Now this, it takes a little bit of pressure. It's not as much as a shock absorber on a car, you know, for your wheel, but nonetheless, it allows you to steer it and turn it, but when you're going down the road and you hit those potholes, it doesn't jerk the steering wheel. Basically, you're going to be a little bit safer and more comfortable with one hand on the wheel. And we all know that we all don't drive at 10 and 2. And I'm sure the threads are just painted. So we're gonna slide that in and tighten that up. Okay, just to let you see the other side here, give you a clear picture of what's going on. As there it is right there. Hope that's focusing. My glasses aren't focusing. And what I want to point out is there's a little sheet metal, U-shaped piece of sheet metal with a tab on it, and it goes down here, and when I get to the final tightening and take the wrench off, I'm going to get my channel locks and I'm going to bend that tab up against the bolt. On the other side it's a nut, on this side it's a bolt, and you don't have to snap it off. Just, you know, a couple grunts and that's good enough. I'm using a jointed socket here. It's kind of a cramped spot to get into. I have the car jacked up and I am using floor jack and a jack stand, and you can see what things look like here. As a matter of fact, I don't know why I'm laying underneath here, because here's the car with the whole thing on it. Right here in River City. there you go. This is a factory beam on the Desert car, and it's got aluminum heavy-duty torsion tie rods, and there it is right there. There's my shock absorber, and it goes right in here, and there's that folded over piece of metal to lock it on there. Pretty cool right here. Fun. Boy, I see this thing sitting here when I come in the garage, and it's like, some days I can't resist it. It's 30 degrees today, but sometimes I just have to fire it up and take it around the block, you know what I mean? I decided that I wanted to double check my front end alignment. I'm going to show you how I do that. And I thought I would correct something. Not that I'm anal or little things bother me, but my steering wheel is turned a little bit to the left. And what we're going to do is try to correct that while we're doing our tie rod adjustment. And the way that you want to do that, picture this is our steering wheel, the round thing in the middle. I want to move my steering wheel when I'm driving down the road straight ahead. I want this to be horizontal like that. I don't want it to be cocked. I don't know how close I'm going to get it, but I thought I would try to improve it. That second little ring down there is be like a horn ring on a stock car like Valerie. This has got a little bit smaller steering wheel, and it really actually gives me, I have a better view of my oil pressure gauge down there, but I'm thinking about moving that up higher anyhow. And so, okay, so you want to move the steering wheel to the right, then rotate the left tie rod on the driver's side to the right. Okay, does that make sense? If you want the steering wheel to go to the right, then turn your tie rod to the right. If your car's driving nice and your tires are wearing evenly and you don't have an alignment problem, however much you turn this tie rod to the right, you need to turn that other side, the long tie rod, to the actually, it's turning to the right as well. Everything goes to the right. That just occurred to me. Okay? If you want to move your steering wheel to the left, when you're looking down here, you would turn it to the left. And that would mean you'd go counterclockwise, which should be to the left on both sides. So, that just occurred to me. How cool is that? Duh! I needed another cup of coffee this morning. Yeah, so if you want to turn your steering wheel to the right, turn everything to the right. If you want it to turn to the left, turn everything to the left. Make sense? Now, you don't want to just unbolt your steering wheel. Now, one of these, I tried it with these screws, just moving it one more screw, because that wouldn't affect the internal turn signal mechanism that's down there. You do not want to remove your whole steering wheel and start getting into that stuff if everything's working properly, and put it back one tooth over. It'd be better to do it with the tie rods like this. A lot of times when a guy goes to get an alignment, and the guy will only adjust one side, and you'll get your car back and it doesn't sit where it used to, and that just irritates the hell out of me. So anyhow, that's what we're going to do today. It's a little difficult. You've got to loosen a clamp on both sides of the long tie rod and both sides of the short tie rod. And these have been there for a long time, and they're probably corroded in. Maybe taking a little bit of penetrating oil and putting it on there. Either way, it's hard, and you're going to need some really big channel locks, or maybe even a pipe wrench, or possibly vice grips. You're just going to give it a go, and it's a good time. If you have bad tie rod ends, that's going to show up too, because you'll get this real funny looseness on both sides. So this is really a good thing for people to do if they haven't been underneath there. it's a good time to grease your front end, check your tie rod ends, grease your beam, check your shock absorbers, just have a general look around for anything that could be wrong. Grab a hold of stuff, shake it, and move it. And what I use is an adjustable paint stick to set it in the wheel. I'll show you how to do that later on. Hang in there. And I just do basically a tape measure. It's too hard for me to hold a tape measure and do it when I'm by myself. If you've got somebody there with you, you just assign them one wheel, they crawl underneath there, and it's generally you can only get it like 8 o'clock and 4 o'clock on the wheel, because the body's in the way, and you don't want to jack the car up, lower it down, and just check it. You want to roll the car back and forth, maybe drive it, bump it. You want to get underneath there. You want to loosen the clamps on both sides of the tie rod. Get these sleeves so that they'll move. You can do a check before you even get started to see how your alignment looks. And I just barely want a little bit of toe in when I'm at rest at normal ride height. This is forever changing. If you put 3 other adults in the car, your alignment changes. If you load it down with camping gear and you're going to go off camping or something, your alignment changes. As you go down the interstate highway and the air lifts the front of the car up, your alignment changes. So it's a forever changing thing. The book calls out degrees and feet of caster and camber and alignment, but these cars are so light, I've never had issues with extreme tire wear that quick. Even when it's butchered, these things, the tires will last quite a long time, especially with the modern radial tires. Originally, these came with bias ply tires. Back in the 60s, I can remember about the only metric radial that was available was made by Michelin. It was called the Michelin X, and it had this really cool tread pattern. Usually you saw them on the MGs and Triumphs and British type sports cars, but if you could get some of those for your Volkswagen, it was like it was on rails. You could use them year round and work great in the wintertime, and compared to the harder bias ply sawtooth tread tires, and they look cool too. So you got points for the cool factor there as well. And anyhow, it's hard to get in and out of this car with the desert car next to me. So let me get set up out front and I'll turn you back on. I forgot to mention that in the onset. Each side of these tie rods, one side's a left-hand thread and the other side's a right-hand thread. So instead of being righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, it's the opposite on one end. Now, this is a left-hand thread, and I believe they want you to put the left-hand thread on here, and then the right on the outside. It doesn't really make any difference. These are the clamps I was talking about. You just loosen the clamp so that you can turn, you can see the tie rod. Now these are new tie rod ends, but I can turn this because I cleaned those threads off. Those are brand new, but I cleaned everything up and I lubricated it up, but yours might be really stiff. So now I've got this loosened up, I've got these loosened up. Now it sounds like a lot of work, and it is, but that's okay. It's a cold day, starting to get into, I had to take the wheel off. You can see this tie rod end is new too, and I guess I use my knee. I've got the key in, but having that brand new steering damper on there, I can feel the effort. It went back and forth real easy before. There's a little bit of it goes a little bit slower, so it's not a problem when you're driving. You got a lot of leverage with that steering wheel, and when you're going down washboard dirt roads and things like that, it takes some of the monkeyness out of your hands, you know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna put the tire back on. I'll probably, I don't know if I'll have to do this, you have to drive the car just like this. Don't go far. You can leave everything loose like this. For God's sakes, don't forget to tighten stuff down. Don't get distracted like I do. But you need to get this thing at your standard ride height if you're going to do this alignment check that I'm proposing here. And what they'll do at the alignment rack, sometimes they'll just roll the car a little bit, or they'll jump up and down on it. It needs to, what they call, settle. Your car needs to settle into its normal happy spot, and that's where it's going to spend most of its time, and that's where you want to do your alignment check. As long as we're right here, this is my this is just what you use a paint stick. This is an aluminum paint stick. It's got an adjustable sleeve here, and you would put your paint roller on the end of it, and basically what I'm going to do, get the car down, lay down here in the front, and then I'm going to move this. I'm going to set this. One piece slides within the other. You can, there's different ways of doing it. You sure as heck don't have to use this paint stick. I'm trying, it's a little bit tight. I don't know what I was doing with it. But you'll put it up. I can't see through the camera either. Oh my God. So you want to put it in the same place. Okay. I've gone in the car. I've clocked my steering wheel right where I want it, right in the position that I want it. And I can tell you right now, this tire is way out to the side. And this alignment is way off. And it's spread apart. So to me it looks like this one, just eyeballing it, so it's really got to be bad off. So we're going to work on it for a while, but let's just take a look at how we go about doing this. Get down here on the floor. Now, I've got my aluminum extension paint stick, and I have got that one up against the tire, which is probably not good. Let me take this, unplug this. Before I go out for the drive, I just wanted to see what it was. Okay, so this side is sitting right on the steel part of the rim, and I've got it what I call probably 7 or 8 o'clock. You just get it close. You can't, there's all this stuff in the way when it's at normal ride height. So I've got my torsion bar, or sway bar, and I've got the I'm looking at the beam and the relationship, the space here, and you want to kind of get it level, and you want to get across to the other side. And this side sitting out, let's see, set you here on this extension cord. So what I'm going to do, okay, well, it's okay. It fell on the rubber there, but it's just, it's a friction fit. You just loosen this, and it goes in and out, and it's just a friction fit. So you got this one, so it's kind of there, right? Now you just have to loosen it up and take it to approximately the same spot on the rim on the other side. So we just lay the paint stick on the floor. You're going to look, that's why they have left and right hand threads on the shaft. Oop, sorry about that. I don't know if I can reach in from the top side behind the wheel. It's so much easier to demonstrate this stuff on a dune buggy. That desert car over there. Yeah, just show you on the desert car what I'm going to do. Okay, you've got the clamps loose. This one's got a lock nut, but it's the same thing. And you can look at this thing. It's all the way in there, and you turn the outside, and you do that to loosen it or tighten it. It's either going to spread the wheels apart or it's going to bring together. So if the back of the wheel, in my case, it's too tight in the back, I need to turn it so that it spreads it apart. and that'll the same, you half the distance you think you need, because it's also going to be moving the other side of the wheel. Okay? Yeah. Self-explanatory here. I need two hands or some kind of a weird... I need a camera girl. Yeah, that's what I need. A real cute little camera girl. Okay. I think that's gonna work, guys. To move that steering wheel to the right took about one full rotation of the tie rod clockwise. Looking at it from the tire clockwise on both sides. And I did a little alignment correction while I was underneath there too. I had a little bit too much toe in before, and I don't feel any resistance whatsoever from that steering damper. The car drives nice. I'm happy. When I did that carpet in the trunk, I added brake fluid to that master cylinder reservoir, and there's a mess down there, so I must have a leak, either one of the switches or one of the hoses, or something's going on. Another reason to, look things over. And I'm not going real far. I'm just gonna turn around and go right back home. I need to tighten those tie rods down. First of all, we're gonna double check our stick measurement, make sure that it's snug, a little bit loose in the back. That's what you want, towards the back of the car, which would be, I suppose it depends on which side, which tire you're looking at, huh? You got the idea. It'll be loose on the back side of the car and snug on the front side of the car. How's that sound? So you set it whichever way you want. Watch your tires. Now, we haven't even talked about front end alignment. Usually also involves camber, and I was looking around for my little torpedo level. I'll explain what I do. I did that recently when I did those ball joints. I checked it out and I got it where I think that I would like it. And I'm not going to be exact on that. Any maintenance book is going to call out specifications, and you won't have the type of tools that an alignment shop has. Around here, doesn't matter whether it's two-wheel drive or four-wheel drive or whatever. They put it on the rack at 75 bucks. I don't have that kind of money. I got too many of these cars, and I'm always changing things. Again, when you go with these Baja wheels and tires, the offset is different. You've got variables here, constantly changing variables. So, and I don't worry about tires. By the time my tires need replacing, I'm ready to replace them. You just don't want steering and handling and safety issues and things of that nature. These are old cars. It's taken me 5 years to start getting things really in good shape. And 2 years ago, I'm going to wear this out, I know, but I don't think too many people drive these Beetles 10,000 miles a year. And I think it was actually more than that when I added it up. But they're fun little cars. They're very lightweight. They're not hard on tires. And if you shop around, you can get some deals on tires. So there you go. Now I'll double check it with the paint stick. And then tighten down the clamps on both ends of the tie rod. Yeah. Let's see if I left myself a little bit more room to get out of here. These bucket seats do You don't move around. You get in, you're in. Okay, so now I'll just leave you on. It's gonna be a long video. I'll try to edit it down. I got my editing software back. Okay, so I'm gonna set it up here in the front on the steel. I like the back of my head. It's gonna go for a ride, and I got yoga later on today, so I thought I'd get all this done and then take a shower. Are you there? Now I'm reaching approximately the same place in the back, and I've just got a tad. A tad? You know how much a tad is? Man, I've got like, it's less than 1/4 of an inch, but there is space. So now I'm going to take a 13mm wrench and go around and tighten all these little tabs. I don't know if they'll show up in the video. Chances of all this stuff. Oh, let me go over that camber thing. Oh, I've got you. First thing I do is I'll take a big level. You have to be on a level surface the way I do it. My garage floor is pretty darn level. Let's see. Here's my father's old level. I don't know where my torpedo level is. Okay, so I'm looking at my... I'm so sorry. Okay, you can see the center bubble there, I hope. There. So I'm pretty close as far as being level that way. Then I take my torpedo level and I'll set it inside the rim, or if I've got a good straight tire, you jack up your car, you can spin the tire, make sure your rims and everything's straight, because that'll throw you off too. They will at the tire shop as well, but generally if they're off or bent, you'll feel it when you're driving down the road. And then what I will do is you've got an eccentric here. You have to loosen this nut, pop it, make sure that I loosen the nut so I'm still protecting the threads, and then I'll pop it from the bottom, make sure that and there's a nut on top. Hopefully you can see that. There's a nut right here where my index finger is. God, I hope you can see that. Oh. And you turn that back and forth, and that either pushes the outside, it pushes the top of the wheel in or out, either way you want it. And basically most modern cars have a little bit of a touch of slope in. So I just set the bubble, it's not this one, but I'll set the bubble, you can see the bubble, can't you? I'll set the bubble so that I've got just a little bit, you know, like 1/8 of an inch past the line, like that, and I call it good. Then you go underneath there and tighten that nut down, and you got your camber adjusted. It's not that big a deal. On link pin, however, that's a different story altogether. On link pin, you got these little shims or washers that go down here, and they're not going to do that at the alignment shop for no $75. They'll probably, I don't know what they would charge for that. But I do it exactly the same way. Get the vehicle at rest, and then same thing, toe in or toe out. And you start, it's not as critical with these off-road cars. A lot of guys just like them straight up and down. You figure out where you like it, where it doesn't throw a lot of sand up in your face when you suddenly go into a corner when you're out there on the sand. Now, just watch your tires, be safe. I'm done for today. It's time to play. We're going to go for a drive. I don't know how far I'm going to get, but I just, you know, every time I accomplish things, I got the mirror, I got the steering damper. I want to find a dirt road and see what it feels like on that, because I really couldn't feel a difference going down the road. Now, before I forget and take this camera inside for editing, I gotta tighten all those tie rod ends. It's just so easy to get distracted. You know how that goes. So at any rate, thanks for hanging in there with me. Thanks Thanks for subbing. If you like these kind of videos, please subscribe. Give me a thumbs up. TheEZGZ out. This time I'm out.